Hello again, this is Fiendish with Dimension Touring, and this episode of the Tinker Tools video guides is going to start bringing together all the other windows that we've looked at, and that's copy and paste. Combined with load and save sets, this area is one of the most versatile areas of the entire add-on. You can literally do anything from copy and paste to include building a structure like this. I'll cover reskin after the whole copy and paste section is done because it works with both copy and paste as well as loading and saving sets. But let's go ahead and get started with what each functional area of copy and paste does. The add-on lets you use new items instead of, if you ever use Toolbox, then you know that you used to have to place each individual item before you could do anything with it, whether it was loading a set or doing a copy and paste. You had to load the piece first. This you can draw from your bags or your bank, or your bags and your bank, and that's a matter entirely of personal preference. Obviously, if you look at my bags, I like to have it just draw straight from my bags, so that way then my bank stays somewhat organized. Custom pivot is its own thing. I've said from the beginning that custom pivot will be a separate video from any of the copy and paste episodes, so we're not going to talk about that one right now. Flicker reduction. Flicker reduction, when I copy and paste an item, say I want to copy this pole here, I'm going to use new items, copy and paste. What flicker reduction does is it automatically offsets on all axes by 0.0003. With some skins, that's enough to eliminate flicker. Generally with something like limestone, it's not, and you have to go in and do either a relative move, or you can manually offset through the copy and paste function. The functional areas of copy and paste are offsets in XYZ. Those are distance offsets. From there you can make stairs really easily, like these. These are all done with distance offsets. You can use rotational offsets, which would be how that thing up at the top was made, that little arch up there. And then you've got scale offsets, which are pretty self-explanatory. It's when you want to copy and paste and want to make something bigger or smaller. You can do that a lot for like decorative pieces. I don't use scaling offsets very often because I use it for small things, but I don't use it a lot in big structures. Sometimes I'll use it for wall art, and sometimes I'll use it for household items like candles or canister sets if I'm building a house. So I'm not really going to touch on scaling offset too much. This is going to be an overview of the copy and paste as well as just the basics, which at its most basic level, say I want to put some pillars in here. Not this one, because this is marking the center point of the structure. And I use the offset calculator to find it, as we just saw. So now I want to make some pillars. So I've got this pole. I'm going to set it and size it. I don't really want it at max size. There we go. I'm going to uncheck use new items because I'm not using an item of the same type. And this is usually only going to work if there's something that has a center point and roughly the selection point in roughly the same location. So I'm going to paste it, and that centered the pole on this cube. It's way too big, so now I can shrink it down and put it where I want it. Now if I want to do the top of this pillar, all I have to do is copy and paste that cube with use new item selected, and there we go. Now I've got a little pillar here. I'm going to raise that up to where it's kind of sort of even, because I'm not using any kind of precision help here. I'm just copying and pasting these items. So now I've got these three things selected. There's a couple things I can do to keep going. I can either save it as a set, or I can just hit copy and then paste. and then move it into position. Now if I want to keep going with more rows, all I have to do is copy the first pillar, copy and paste, and we're not doing any offsets right now. We're just doing that. And if I decide I want the back half to match this front half, I can come back here, copy all this. Now I've got both sets of pillars copied. And I wait till it pastes. I'm sure there is a limit to how many items you can copy and paste to get the multi-item to work. I'm sure there is a limit to the amount of items that you can use for a multiple item copy and paste. I haven't found it yet. I think the most I've done is like 50 at a time. And there we go. So now I've got these pillars down here, very quickly and easily done. And at the most basic level, that's how you'd use copy and paste. On the next installment, we'll start working with distance offsets. Until next time, happy building.